Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pulsechain channel. Today, we're going to talk about having a plan going into the launch of this new chain. Um, our goal here really is to compound our PLSX and our PLS until we can live off, a modest amount of what we're bringing in. So let's go with the Pulsechain plan. So, what happens if we compound until we can live off 10 to 50% of our gains? Planning is the way that we succeed. If you don't have a plan, you might fall into success, right? You might fall into success. So by that I mean you might just find out one day. It's like losing your keys for 10 years in Bitcoin, and then coming back and find out you have millions of dollars, right? You might fall into being successful, but with a plan, you can fight the urges to settle for less. So we can fight the urges to settle for being able to sell our whole bag and be good for a while. If we have a plan, we can really create generational wealth. So we want to ask ourselves a few questions as we get into this. If you miss sacrifice, will we have an opportunity to get in near a sacrifice level? We don't know. We'll see. Will we see growth like other RH projects? 10,000x in the first 2 years of Hex's life. Actually, a little shorter than 2 years to that 54, 56 cent range. That wasn't from Hex launch, mind you. That was from Hex low. Will we be able to delay being rich so that we can be wealthy? Again, my goal here is to be wealthy. I don't need to be rich. I don't need a couple mil. I want an asset, that pays me enough to live off of, so I don't have to touch it. So whether that's a $2 million asset that pays me 10 grand a month, or a $20 million asset that pays me $2 million a year, I don't know. Which one of those is good for you? I don't know. But having a plan is what you want and what you really need. So with that, finding out your goal, what's how big do you want your lifestyle to be? How small do you want your lifestyle to be? How simple? Do you want a house? Do you want kids? Do you just want to travel the rest of your life? Figure those things out, kind of figure out what a price would be, add a bit to it and aim for that on just a residual income. And also plan for the bear markets. It's incredibly important to plan for bear markets. Greed versus need, do you need that new Tesla? Do you need that new Ferrari? Or could you still live in your beater until, you can pay for that Ferrari with 1% of what you're making, every couple months? That's something you gotta decide for yourself. Do you need that $30,000 car that you spend 30 grand on, and you sell some Pulse or Pulsex to get it, and 5 years later, Pulsex is another 2,000 up. Well, that $30,000 car costs you 30 to 60 mil. So figure that out. Our goal here on Pulsestream is going to be to split our gains through single-sided staking, 60-20-20 or 60-30-10. And it's all going to depend on the third-party coin that we're getting, if we like the project or not. And it's also good to just keep a little moon bag of those free tokens, just in case. What if they do 100x? What if they do a 10x? That 10% becomes really quickly 50% on, a 5x. That 20% becomes 200% on a 10x. It's huge. So 60% will be going compounding right back into Pulsex. 20% will be keeping, or will be swapping from that third party token into stable. We'll be keeping that bag on the side, and 20% or 10% will be keeping in that third party token. So one thing that we're going to look at in my next video is Hex price launch and low versus Pulsex and Pulsex SAC and possible lows, right? We're going to use the Hex low and the Ethereum low to compare what those might look like. We'll be referencing for our presentations in the next video, we'll be referencing a 2x from launch. That's 302.302. Pulsex sacrifice, we'll be comparing that here with the Hex adoption amplifier daily pots, right? The first day there was 1 billion Hex up for for grabs, and it was split up between however many ETH were given. You can see here, day one, we had 1 billion hex available. We had 21,015 ETH sacrifice for that hex. Ended up being that hex was 47,584 hex per ETH. ETH at that time was $147.96. That was the close, which put hex at 0.203 price. Or sorry, yeah. Day 33, which was the low of the adoption amplifier. Every other day had 511 million hex, so day one had twice the amount. There was 277.9 ETH sacrificed, and you got 1.85 million hex per ETH that you sacrificed. ETH at that time was $9, $11 lower than ETH the first day. So your price on ETH was, or on hex, sorry, was 0.4073. It's a big difference. So it's not always good to just slam in everything at once, to just YOLO your entire bag day one. Wait for those dips, dollar cost average over time. You're much better to put in, a couple ETH every day or parts of an ETH every day than it was to just ape in day one. So you really need to be conscious of how you're getting in to this this new project, Pulse and Pulsex. I would advise that you either wait for a good dip or just DCA over the first year. PLSX, we've already talked about in a previous video. The pools, the one-sided pools, are much like the cake pools. We'll be comparing APYs that are historical cake APYs. The averages pretty much range between, at all times during like normal market action, range between 45 and 95% return. We'll be using an average of 70%, so right in the middle, minus 5%. We'll be at 65% APR. We will be weekly compounding these things, giving us an APY of 90.8%. That gives us a monthly return of 7.5%. Again, because we're weekly compounding. Bear market low, which is what we're seeing right now, we're right at about 18%. I see things all the way down at 14%. I see things up at 22%. So we're going to take 18%, which gives us weekly compounded, gives us a monthly return of 1.5%. Our moon math high, these are the highest that I've seen the pools on CakeBee. It's a 95% APR. They usually don't stay there for a long time, but we'll just act like they do in our coming presentation. With weekly compounding, that gives us an APY of 156.4%, roughly a 13% monthly return. Join me on the next video. We'll be doing that. Thanks, guys, for stopping by.